Hello, welcome to Mindset to Results. And today, our guest is Alexander Karp. He's co-founder of Ether Botanical, Natural Botanical, and he is here to share about his company, about his own story, and how he's helping other people to solve their health issues and feel healthy and having that energy and live their life with all purpose and all meaning and all this beauty. Hi, Alexander.
Good morning. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being guest on our podcast. And today we will speak about Kratom, this product which can help so many people. And before we start going deeper to this topic, would you like to share with us your story, how uh, this natural product with which nature gives us helped you and how you helping now other people?
Yes, I've unfortunately had a chronic pain issue that I started noticing in high school. I was very competitive playing soccer when I was younger, and I noticed that my back was hurting. And it later found out that I have a degenerating disc in my lower back between my L5 and S1 vertebrae. And because of that degeneration, it caused, nerve pain, muscle shifting, and really kind of caused some chronic pain issues that are very debilitating when it comes to pain caused from a degenerating disc. And so when I was in high school, went to my doctor, did physical therapy. I tried different exercises and really just had to learn that I had to manage that chronic pain with my own health and wellness routine. So at that time, I was going to a chiropractor. I was also, exercising, doing core strengthening, and really doing as much breath work and kind of releasing that lower back as much as I could. But however, even with that health routine, I would still run into these, I'd call them pain episodes, where I would twist my back and it would lock up and it would get really, really painful. I'm talking like a 9 or a 10 debilitating pain where I can't exercise anymore. Walking would hurt, just standing, sitting, even sleeping was just problematic. And as I got a little bit older and I ventured into entrepreneurship, which is, being an entrepreneur is a lot of stress, there's a lot of time commitment. And then as I got older, I kind of noticed these pain episodes became more frequent. And in 2016, I was in a very long pain episode. So instead of, 1 or 2 weeks with my back being locked up and painful, I was now for like 4 or 5 months into this pain episode. And because of that, I stopped playing sports. I stopped going out with my friends and family. And then, so, this physical pain was kind of starting to really cause this mental pain and depression. And at that time in 2016, I heard about Kratom on a podcast. And Kratom is an unregulated jungle botanical that grows in Southeast Asia. So, Kratom is a jungle tree that grows in Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand. And for centuries, indigenous people would kind of pick a leaf and chew on it, or they would pick a leaf, pick leaves, dry them, make teas out of it. And they would use kratom for a boost in energy, a reduction in their physical pain, and just kind of a boost in mood so that they could work, hard, long days at kind of like a farm level or out in the jungle. Um, so when I heard about kratom, that people use it for pain and energy, okay, I've tried everything for my back pain and nothing was really helping. So I decided to go ahead and order kratom. Because it's unregulated, it means that it's very widely available in the United States. So people can order it online or can go to different retail stores and find it. When I got kratom, it's this kind of green powder, almost like a matcha green tea, but very fine powder. And it has a very characteristic smell that smells like kratom, has a very bitter profile because kratom is actually related to the coffee family of trees. But
Mhm.
instead of producing caffeine, kratom produces its own unique alkaloids that have very profound physiological effects on our body. So I took about a tablespoon of kratom, I drank it with some water, and then went back to my work at my desk. And what I noticed was about, 15, 20 minutes later, for the first time in the last, 4 or 5 months, the pain level went from a 9 or a 10 down to a 2 or a 3. And then I was able to just forget about my pain and get back to the life that I wanted. So I was able to work and just have no issues with my back pain. So that this was amazing. And so that was kind of my first, I guess, exploration into kratom. And it was, absolute miracle for my back pain. So I continued ordering different types of kratom, but I also noticed that sometimes I would try kratom and it was a miracle for my pain. And then other days I would order the same kind of kratom, but it did not help with my pain. And so this led me into kind of, this curiosity of what was happening. And essentially what was the difference between the kratom is that the active ingredient in kratom is in a generally very low percentage. It can be anywhere from 0.5% up to 1.5% of this active alkaloid. And so understanding that active alkaloid, how much of it is in these leaf material products, by being able to test for that active alkaloid called mitragynine, we're able to make a very consistent and standard product. So we publish this quantified active ingredient on each and every package. And then a consumer can go to Ethan Naturals, buy our product, see the certificate of analysis, and then that gives them the information they need to adjust their dosage of kratom to get the consistent benefits.
Yes, exactly. Like what you shared, it was like a miracle. Yes, I even can't imagine how people can live every day with pain. Yes, like it is really very difficult because you cannot focus on anything because you have pain. So everything loses colors. Like yeah, like life loses.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I remember that when, I mean,
mhm.
yeah, when I had my chronic back pain issues and before I had kratom, I mean, I remember, I would have this sharp shooting pain and then it would pull me out of whatever, present moment I was in, would just that pain would suck me into it. And then I would, have to focus on it and I would try to move my body to try and relieve the pain. And I remember it being so bad that, I didn't want to say go out with my friends or family because it was like, well, I don't want to go travel. I don't want to stand around and maybe this art exhibit, or I wasn't able to go walk with friends. And so yeah, with that chronic pain, it just becomes yeah, just a horrible experience. And I remember, at some point not even say wanting to have a family in the future because okay, if I'm going to be in this severe chronic back pain, how can I enjoy spending time with, my future kids or my family? It's a really terrible situation to be in when there's chronic pain and no relief.
Yes, yes, definitely. So it is really great when that you found this miraculous botanical and it helped you so much. So how long have you been using this leaf for yourself?
Yeah, so I started consuming kratom in 2016 when I first learned about it. So it's been about 8 or 9 years almost now. And what's amazing with kratom is that the way it works is that mitragynine is the main active alkaloid, and mitragynine does interact with mu and kappa opioid receptors. So that's how it interferes with that pain signal. And what's nice is that you know, once I consume kratom in about 15 or 20 minutes, that those alkaloids start to activate and actually reduce the pain. So it's not like something that you have to take a supplement for several weeks or months to get a benefit out of it. It's 15, 20 minutes after I consume it, I'm getting that pain relief. But
Yes,
what's also nice.
it is amazing because usually people take ibuprofen or other medicine which we know have side effects. And when there is a natural, yes, and like painkiller, so it of course can help. But I remember that my daughter had pain in her stomach, and yes, like so many parents can relate to that. It is difficult when we have pain, but to see children having pain and when nothing helps. And
Mm.
you know that painkillers also not the answer. Yes, you should find the reason, but it is so good to have something that is natural, and if it doesn't have any side effect, yes, that can give people that relief. Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's the important part is that pain is maybe trying to show us something, or to your point, you want to understand what's the underlying reason for the pain. And so it just and the way the alkaloids work with kratom is that it's a each alkaloid does interact with multiple receptors. And there's also kind of this what's called a ceiling effect. So if you consume a small amount of kratom, there's a little bit of pain relief. If you consume more kratom, you kind of get a little bit stronger pain relief. But at some point, there is what's called a ceiling effect, where even if you try to consume more kratom, you do not get a higher and higher pain relief. It kind of saturates at some point. And this is very important because it, unlike other opioid-based pain relievers, because of kratom having this ceiling effect, kratom does not release this large amount of dopamine, so people don't try to just chase the, pleasure seeking that other opioids cause. And that's kind of this analogous to what you were bringing up about, what's the underlying issue with the pain. And so kratom will take pain from a 9 or a 10 down to a 2 or a 3, but then it also allows me to engage in my other health routine, my other health practices. So when I consume kratom, I'm then able to go back to the gym and say strengthen my glute muscles, strengthen my core exercises to really kind of help stabilize that spine. So I'm not just using a pain reliever to mask the pain and kind of make something worse. Kratom is, helpful as a holistic pain relief process. And that's also what we find that the alkaloids in kratom interact with other receptors. So there's alkaloids that interact with some of our dopamine system. So we get kind of this, boost in mood or antidepressant effect. It interacts with the serotonin system. So if, people have anxiety or issues focusing or kind of just depressed, kratom helps me on that as well with that serotonin activity. And then because there's also this adrenergic system, which is kind of like our, like gets us like excited for competition or kind of when we get a little bit nervous, it kind of gets our body in that energy state. So yeah, kratom kind of gives like this perception of energy. It's not going to be like a stimulant like caffeine, but it will kind of be vasodilation, blood flows easier. It kind of feels like just after working out, you kind of feel a little more like awake and alive, ready to kind of tackle life. That's where kratom has, this multiple benefit because of those different alkaloids really work together that improve my life and then also allows me to incorporate, you know, drinking hydration, drinking water, eating properly, going to the gym to work out. All of that together now becomes a great lifestyle that complements everything together and kind of lets people live the life they really want to live.
Yes, amazing. Amazing. Yeah. And do you still have pain? Or you could address that, I mean, to find the reason and make it better.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, so I did find that kettlebells, doing kettlebell exercises was a really good exercise to help strengthen my glute muscles and my lower back. And so I don't get pain from that degenerating disc as much as I used to. I mean, when I was first consuming kratom in 2016, I was using kratom about 3 times per day. So with kratom, like I said, it starts, those alkaloids start to release and start to provide the benefit within 15 or 20 minutes. And then the half-life, kratom will typically work about 4.5 to 5 hours, and then it kind of slowly tapers off as far as the benefits. So when I was in that chronic pain state in 2016, just horrible pain, I was using kratom about 2 to 3 times per day to kind of get through a full day. And I was doing that every day. now that, like I said, I've done kettlebell workouts that really strengthen my back, I'm able to manage kind of the underlying issue of my back pain. Now I probably use Kratom once every couple weeks. It's more about an as needed basis. Sometimes maybe I'll go do a new exercise or I'll do some kind of different stress in my back that may cause some issues that I'm not accustomed to anymore. And then I consume Kratom. But now, so I don't have to use it, every day or multiple times a day because I've been able to heal my back through some of that exercise process.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So glad to hear that it helped you so much. And would you like to share with us maybe some stories of other people who you helped with this product?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so my business partner, Victor Chung, he has some chronic pain issues from a fractured vertebrae. He did a lot of mixed martial arts in high school and college, and he had some injuries during that time that he did not fully let heal properly. And because of that, he had sciatic pain nerve and some chronic issues from that, unhealed fractured vertebrae. So he used kratom for kind of the same reason I did of severe chronic pain. I know when he was going through issues, he was looking at surgery for his back that may or may not help with the pain. It was kind of like a 50-50 chance of actually helping with the pain. He was getting some cortisone shots that would only help for 1 or 2 weeks. And and that's why he was willing to try kratom back at that same time. So just like me, Victor, he gets pain relief when he consumes kratom, and then that allowed him to keep pursuing other, ways to understand what the pain was caused from. And eventually found a doctor that did an ultrasound and showed that there was a puncture in a tendon that was connected on his like back right hip, and he was able to get stem cells injected to actually heal that process. And what's fascinating is that, a lot of times when people get stem cells, they're not allowed to be on pain medications or anti-inflammatory because it's that pain response and that inflammation response that our body produces is actually the signal of indicating where cells need to repair or grow. So typically when people get stem cells, they have to get off of, anti-inflammatories, to get off of other pain medications. But with kratom, because it's a natural substance that has that sealing effect where it reduces the pain but does not 100% eliminate it, it doesn't cause that dopamine release. And then kratom reduces inflammation, but it still has enough of a signal response for the body to indicate where the tissue needs to repair itself. He was able to continue using kratom to help with the daily pain, get the stem cell injections, and those stem cells were able to grow and actually heal that spot in his body.
Amazing, amazing. Yes, stories you shared. Yes, and so good that you found for yourself, and now I understand that this is now your main business. Yes, how you dedicate your time and energy,
Mhm.
your experience to help other people to live without pain or reduce pain significantly.
Yes, correct. Yeah, so in kratom, so it's been around for, like I said, hundreds of years, centuries, even millennia in Southeast Asia. Kratom came to the United States probably in the 1970s and was kind of has been used by at least the estimate now is about 20 to 25 million Americans use kratom on a daily basis. And typically people use kratom for kind of a variety of reasons. One of the main reasons is that people want to, say, enhance their lifestyle, kind of like what people would typically consume coffee for. I want to wake up in the morning, I want to feel a little more energized, I want to feel reduce kind of some of that maybe body aches and pains, just have a better overall start to the day. That's why people are going to use kratom for a large majority of people. The next third of people will use kratom because they have a severe chronic or mental pain issue. So this can be physical pain that kratom helps with. And like I said, I've tried so many other products, whether it's from my doctor or holistic health practitioners. Nothing helps with severe chronic pain like kratom does. And what's nice is that it helps with both the physical pain side as well as I'll call it mental pain. So like depression or anxiety that often kind of sometimes gets associated with that physical pain. Kratom helps with both the physical pain and the mental anxiety depression side. And then lastly, people are starting to use kratom, especially in the United States, for substance use disorder. So specifically, people use it for opioid use disorder because kratom interacts with the same opioid receptors, but in a atypical or in a different way so that it can help with the addiction of opioids, but kratom does not reinforce or cause that addiction to keep, increasing or perpetuating. Also, people use it for alcohol substance use disorder, as well as then there are people that are starting to use it for methamphetamine use disorder. So really people use, small amounts of kratom for enhancing their lifestyle, energy, boosting mood, get going in the morning, severe chronic physical and mental pain, and then also for, substance use disorders. Those are the three main categories that people consume kratom for.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Alexander. So, how does it help with depression or, yes, this deficit of focus when people find difficult to
Yeah, it's
be
The
and
the main alkaloids, mitragynine, plus some of the other secondary alkaloids, interact with both the dopamine receptor system in our body as well as the serotonin receptor system in our body. So serotonin is the receptors that are kind of responsible for mood, and this is where certain medications like SSRIs will be a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. So we know that interacting with the serotonin system can help with the overall, positive feeling or kind of depression, anxiety state. So that's what kratom interacts with to help with that side of, the mental response. I think the other thing that people report is that, typically when people have physical pain or they have maybe even just depression or anxiety, that overall low energy state kind of helps feed into that mental issue. So I know like when I've gotten depressed or felt anxious, I don't really feel like being active or maybe going out as much. And so
Mhm.
that low energy then causes me to kind of stay home. And then now, okay, I'm staying home, I'm not really doing much. And that's kind of feeding back into, more of that depression side. So with kratom, it interacts directly with the serotonin system, kind of helping produce, gives me a little bit more positive outlook on life. I just feel less anxious, feel better. And then also some of the alkaloids provide kind of a boost in energy. So I get kind of like this vasodilation effect, kind of feels like I just want to go exercise a little bit more. So I think that secondary effect of that energy helps me go out and enjoy the life I want to, helps me interact with people, helps me go exercise, helps do activities that bring me, direct happiness or helps, maybe release natural dopamine, helps release kind of some of those natural endorphins when I go exercise. So I think that's how kratom, it's this natural product that has multiple alkaloids that interact with several parts of our body that complement each other to really kind of give me that better quality of life.
Yes, amazing, amazing. What nature have, yes, and what nature
Yeah, absolutely.
everything what we need. We just have to discover it, and it is great that you discovered it for yourself and now helping other people. So, what are the main products which you produce?
Sure. So like I said, kratom is a tree that people will typically pick from the tree, dry it into a powder, and then make a tea out of it. But because kratom has this very characteristic bitter profile, that's very unpleasant for the most part. We make with Ethan Naturals, we make a proprietary 100% whole leaf tablet. So this is where we take the leaf, we dry it, we grind it into a powder, and then we just press it into a whole leaf tablet with no binders, no fillers, no additives. So it's 100% natural leaf, no additives, no other synthetic additives to it. That's our main, say, flagship product that we started with 7, 8 years ago, and it's been kind of our best seller. Additionally, we also make extract products. So we make a simple, fresh brewed kratom tea in a glass bottle with some natural sweeteners, some, natural citric acid to kind of enhance the flavor. So that's kind of a very pure form brewed kratom with minimal ingredients. We then also make a set of extract tablets. So we have a full spectrum extract that is pressed into a tablet, and that provides kind of this long, natural, extended release to kind of give those benefits throughout, say, more of a 6 to 10 hour period. We then also have what we call kratom mints. So this is like a sugar mint that has active alkaloid extract added to that mint to give kind of more of a consistent alkaloid amount in each mint, and it kind of gives it more of this energy boost and mood boost specifically.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Alexander, for sharing about your story and about this miraculous natural product, which is great. And I'm sure that people who listening to us would like to check more on your website and
Mhm.
contact you. So we will put all information how to reach out to you in the description to this video.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, ethanaturals.com. We do a lot of work to definitely provide that transparency and credibility of where our products come from, the test results. But then because we're passionate about Kratom, we really like to educate people. So there's a lot of blog articles. We have additional podcast episodes that go into details about Kratom, where it comes from, and any other questions that consumers have had over the years. We try to engage really deeply with our consumers through our blogs and podcasts to answer those questions directly.
Yeah, amazing. It is such a great service you do for mankind, yes, and especially for people who are suffering from pain, and they will be happy to try your product and get that relief as you experienced as you said, in 2016 when you just introduced this to yourself. Yes, so is there anything that maybe one advice or something that is important for you that you would like to share before we wrap up this episode?
Yeah, I mean, kratom is definitely a very powerful jungle botanical, and typically, people have a wide range of benefits, as well as then individuals. We all respond differently to foods and supplements and drugs that we consume. So I would say, start small. People use anywhere from 1 gram to 5 grams of kratom leaf material for their own personal consumption amount. And like I said, because kratom interacts with our body within 15 or 20 minutes, the typical way that I found my, personal kratom dose was to start small at 1 gram and then wait 15, 20 minutes, see how I felt, see if I still noticed the pain, see, what kind of benefits I was looking for. And then I added another gram, and then I kept adding a little bit more kratom until I got the desired pain relief that I was looking for personally. And then that became my personal dose. So I use anywhere from 2.5 to 3 grams is my personal amount of kratom that I consume. There are, like any product out there are companies that are doing a great job trying to take kratom from this unknown jungle botanical, put testing, information, research. There's a lot of great support also from consumers out there through the American Kratom Association. So the American Kratom Association.org, they are a nonprofit advocacy group protecting just people's access to kratom, implementing general common sense regulation as we really try to, take this unknown botanical into a mainstream market. We want to make sure that things are done properly. And so there's a lot of great companies out there, just like Etha, that are educating people, providing test results, doing what they can to elevate the kratom industry into, a natural health and wellness product.
Yeah, amazing. And thank you so much for what you do and for helping so many people who need your products. And of course, thank you for being amazing guest on our podcast. And we are looking forward to know more about you and more about your products. And also, um, we will put all information in description so everyone who is listening to this episode, you can find information and connect to Alexander to know more and if you have any questions.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're most welcome, and we're looking forward to see you again in our future episodes to know more about Kratom and your other stories of your happy patients like customers who use this product and who discover it for themselves.
Absolutely.